Welcome back to Toronto, Thomas. Always great to have you here. And this was heartbreaking, intense. What a story. How much did you know about it before even like the book, or were you aware of the whole tragedy?
Well, I witnessed the tragedy back then, but not much.
Yeah.
What got to me back then was, and what stayed with me and what I remembered was the tapping, which is a nightmarish thing for me.
Yeah.
Then Matthias, the main character, called me and asked me to read the script and wanted me to direct it. So I was casted for it. I didn't cast him for it. We made a movie together
Exactly,
before.
Far From the Madding Crowd. Yeah.
And I read it and I found that it elevated itself from just a political drama to become something grander, like a story of life and death, and a story about running out of time, I guess,
Yeah.
which we all eventually do, and which nobody really wants to talk about anymore. There's this massive focus on youth and fear of the fact that we are eventually going to run out of time. And I thought these men showed such bravery when they're being confronted with the potential end.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, anyone who goes to war or joins the Navy, whatever, always knows that there could be that, you know, they know what they're signing up for. When you're in a submarine, and honestly, like, I felt claustrophobic watching your film, which was probably the intent. I don't think I could do a job like that. Do you?
I could definitely not do a job like that. And I will never become a submariner.
Yeah.
But I find that these guys are real heroes.
Absolutely.
It's amazing what they can do, and it's amazing what happens between them in this very, very closed confinement. This was even a big submarine. This was the biggest, one of the biggest ever.
Huge.
But normally they have a night shift of 3 persons per bed. So the bed is always warm.
Right.
Because they only have 6 hours each. You know, it's really, really closed. It's very claustrophobic.
Yeah. What challenged you making this one? Because there's a lot going on. It's also getting through the personal story of everybody, but then there's, you know, the sub story too.
Well, all the explosions and technicalities and how to make this in a water tank, and the insurances of all the, because of the electrical cables and all that was obviously huge and different from what I normally do, but very interesting, and I had great people around me. I think the biggest challenge of this movie was the language, the fact that they speak English,
Right,
and they're supposed to be Russians, because I intend to search for the truth, but it was nice. I found it was like a challenge to me.
Yeah.
I felt, okay, they speak English, they're supposed to be Russians, we have to make it even more truthful. It has to be so bare and fragile and real what happens between these people for me to overcome this. That for me was the main challenge of this.
yeah, and also what I appreciated was that we're not just seeing a story of men going down, and you know, unfortunately what happens is tragic and terrible, but we get a real good sense of what their families are feeling, and the village and how close they are, and then the whole bullshit of what happened, that they weren't making an attempt to get them saved.
Right.
Honestly, that just, I was in tears with the whole human element.
Right.
Was that tough for you to convey that message for us?
Right, it's because it's a tough thing that's going on. It's a horrible thing. And obviously another big challenge of this movie was to maintain a sense of hope.
Yes.
And I think the kid, and the end with the kid without spoiling too much, for me was kind of a key for that, a key for the future, so that I wasn't entirely destroyed by watching it, or making it, or reading it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really a great film. You've done an amazing job with it. I
Thank
wish we
you.
could talk longer, but always a pleasure to talk to you. And
Thank you.
Best of luck, Thomas. Thank you so much.